Hello everyone, and thank you for watching. Welcome to another episode of PALS, aka People Accepting Love and Sympathy. Last time, some unfortunate events had occurred. Our former pal George has decided to leave the PALS program.
But you said that he is coming today, right?
Fortunately, yes. His parole officer has informed me that he is required to attend at least one more session before he officially quits here, so yes, he will be here shortly.
That's good, I guess. Do you think that there's a chance that he could change his mind?
Well, knowing George, I do hope that's the case.
Oh, face it, Peter. Look, I know you're trying to be positive and all, but we just gotta accept the fact that we pushed him over the edge.
While I do agree with you, Tyler, there's always the chance that...
Peter, you just don't get it. George is done. You heard what he had to say. No one just explodes like that and is okay after a brief talk. Yeah, I see what you mean, Ty, but we gotta try, right? James, there is no trying here. George is done with us.
Tyler, please. I'm sorry, but this is the last thing we need right now.
You think I don't know that? Tyler, I know you're upset right now, but James, I think I'm a bit more than just upset right now. This whole thing was just... never mind.
Tyler, what is it?
Nothing. Tyler, please, talk to me. I'm here for you. This whole thing would have been avoided if it wasn't for me. I'm the one that ticked him off. I'm the one that constantly made fun of him for his issues without even thinking of him. I mean, I never meant to hurt him, but I did. And now, it's one thing to be playful, but I took it too far to the point where now he's literally leaving us, guys. I really screwed up. I am really nothing more than just an edgy prick.
Oh, Tyler, don't view yourself like that.
Why not? This whole thing was my fault. If that doesn't make me an edgy prick, then what the heck am I? You're a great guy, Tyler. And I really mean that. I know you don't always give off a lot of emotions, or you don't always, talk about feelings sometimes. But I know behind all of those dark clothes, you really shine through. And yeah, I know you may not believe it, and I don't blame you, but I'm glad to know that you'll always be one of my best friends. James, outside of being the cheesiest guy I know, that means a lot to me. And, you're not so bad yourself. I guess. I mean, not that I care.
Wow. That was so pure. Well, Tyler, hopefully James helped put you a bit more at ease. Just know that this is not your fault. Yes, you may have made some wrong decisions, but in no way was this just your fault. I believe that we all have a part to play in this. We're all at fault here.
Yeah, I guess you have a point. I just hope we can make this right.
Me too. And we will. George! It's so good to see you again. How are you feeling?
Yeah, let's just get this over with.
Hey, George, maybe you don't want to hear this right now, but
And you'd be right!
Oh, George, about last time,
Yeah, I get it. You all feel super sorry and feel bad about what happened, and now you want me to stay. Well, guess what? I didn't come here for your pity. Just talk about being, I don't know, kind to others or something and get this over with.
George, as your therapist, I can't ignore when there is an obvious emotional instability occurring with a patient of mine. I know you're upset, and I don't blame you. What happened last time was bad. I may have taken things too far, but what I want you to know is that whatever I decide to do, I always do it with your best intentions in mind. My goal is never to hurt you, but rather to help you.
Peter, I appreciate what you're trying to do for me, but it doesn't change the fact that last time was horrible for me.
George, I'm awfully sorry about last time. I really am. I know what happened last time was a lot, but I just don't want to see you go, okay? I know from what it looks like you've been through a lot of bad experiences, but I don't want us to be one of them.
You've got a lot of heart, James. I'll give you that. But you don't understand. Last time was...
George, I know you're probably not going to care about it all that much, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, George. This whole thing would have been avoided if I didn't make fun of you so much that I...
Again, Tyler, I don't want your pity.
Let me finish! What I'm trying to say, George, is that I felt terrible about what happened. It's literally all I could think of. I couldn't focus on school. I couldn't focus on chores. Heck, I couldn't even focus on Samantha. All I could think about is what happened last time, and I felt so guilty about it. And it was so crappy of me to do, and I don't blame you if you hate me for what happened. I just want you to know that, well, I care about you, George.
Tyler, I don't hate you. Sure, I'll tell you, what you did last time was pretty crappy. But it wasn't just you. I was hurt by basically everyone here. And sure, maybe you all feel bad, but I've made up my mind. This is my last session.
Well, George, if this is your last session with us, then what would you like to discuss?
Man, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me.
Well, George, if you don't mind me asking, last time when you were emotional, you said something that was, well, rather
Concerning.
yes, that.
I'm guessing you're referring to the statement about my father. Yeah, I've also thought about that a lot. Maybe I shouldn't ask, but what did you mean by that, George? You guys really expect me to just open up just like that? Especially after last time?
Well, of course you don't have to. I just want to make sure that, well, you're doing okay.
Yeah, I can tell that you've been through a lot, or maybe even you're going through a lot right now. But I guess I just want to help you in any way that I can.
I mean, it's like what you said, George. We don't know what you've been through, and we probably don't understand. But that doesn't mean we don't want to understand.
Yes, I agree. We all just want to be here for you.
Man, you guys really want to know, huh?
Only if you want to tell us.
I got so angry last time, didn't I? I got so furious with you all, and I always do this.
What do you mean, George?
While I don't know if I can just forgive you all right now. Maybe this whole thing wasn't just you guys. Maybe this whole thing was because of me. This isn't the first time this has happened before. I've been to dozens of other therapy programs, and they've all ended the same. I get angry, and I leave. And now I see that's happening all over again. You know, I always blame the people involved, but maybe it's time I blame myself.
Oh, George, don't say that. I'm sure it wasn't even...
And you guys are acting so nice to me, despite the fact that I exploded on you guys. I don't know. Maybe you guys do care. Maybe I'm the one that's being careless.
Hey, George, it's okay. We all know that it wasn't your fault.
You know what? Screw it.
I'm sorry?
I've kept this shut for too long now. Maybe things will be better if I open up about this.
Again, only if you want to.
Can it, Pete? I've got beans to spill.
Aw, I'm proud of you.
Just take your time, okay? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I was born in Nebraska. It's where I spent most of my life. Not the most luxurious place to live, I know, but it is what it is. I grew up with just my mom and my dad. I was an only child. It had its perks, but not enough. You see, growing up was hell. My mom wasn't too bad, at least from what I remember of her. But my dad, he was a monster. You see, well, my dad would hurt me. Not just me, but my mom too. And I have no idea why.
God, I wish I did. To have some sort of reason. Nobody can be that evil, but my dad found a way. Anyway, I can't tell when it started, but it was pretty little when it did. Maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5? It's hard to say. My mom and dad would always argue and fight all the time. Whenever my mom was winning the fight, well, my dad would hit her. It got so bad that she ended up leaving us. I was about 6 at the time. I don't blame her though. I would have gotten out of that nightmare too if I could. The only thing I hold against her is that she left me behind. Not to mention, because my mom left us, guess who got her share of the pain? Yep. Oh God, the things he'd do to me. He'd always shave my head so it was a buzz cut. I think he did it because he was in the military or I don't know, something. I always hated that I could never have control of anything, let alone my hair. But I'm just getting started. When he would beat me, sometimes he would use a bat. A baseball bat. It was always so sudden too. Some days I wouldn't even have done anything and he'd run upstairs to the closet, grab the bat, chase me down and... yeah. He even had something written on it like, "Old Reliable" or "Old Trusty" or something. I never got the chance to read it. Not that I wanted to be close to that thing. God, it was so sick. This non-stop cycle of beatings and pain all of the time. I swear, he wasn't even human. And it wasn't just the beatings either. He would say things to me that really hurt me. How it was my fault Mom left, or how I was a mistake. He was always so angry with me. Not once did I ever have a moment of decency with him. Not once. This would go on for several years. Say something wrong, bam! Say something right, bam! Say nothing at all, bam! Over and over and over again, God! Throughout my school years, I didn't have many friends. My dad didn't like me to have any. He was going to suck me into his void of loneliness. Many teachers and some kids would ask about the bruises I had. Either I, or usually my dad, would tell them, "Oh, he's just a reckless kid, always acting without using the thing between his ears. Classic George." I always hated that. I remember telling one teacher because I couldn't take it. My dad then reassured the teacher that we were just roughing around, quality father-son bonding time. He soon beat me after that, but much harder. It gets so bad that I would end up in the hospital sometimes. You know, because I'm so reckless. That classic George. At least in the hospital I had a place of comfort. God, I hate saying that, but I digress. High school. Up to this point, I kept to myself. Everyone knew me as that tough, quiet kid with the buzzed hair. And I intended on keeping it that way. Until Bethany. I talked about Bethany before, but for a while, Bethany was all I had. After I asked her to the dance, we started seeing each other more and more. She was perfect. And at first, my dad didn't mind seeing her. Surprisingly, definitely strict, but I finally had something. We started dating fall of junior year, continued till senior year. I loved being with her. She made me feel appreciated and valued. She saw the best in me, even though there isn't a whole lot. Gosh, she was beautiful. The way she talked, the way she presented herself, everything. I can still hear her laugh. How she'd get embarrassed when she'd snort. I never told her, but I thought it was cute. And there was the little things too. I'd always sing for her despite my rough voice. She'd always laugh and seemed entertained. Man, I love her. She was always so supportive too. It took me a while, but I eventually opened up to her about my dad and such, and gosh, she helped me out so much. She always talked to me and was always willing to listen. She insisted on speaking to the authorities or something, but I said no, because I didn't know what was going to happen. She regrettably agreed not to, but I could tell it hurt her. And that was one of the biggest regrets of my life. We should have talked to someone, because the week after that happened, my dad had some fantastic news for me. He told me that I was no longer allowed to see Bethany, and he was going to transfer me even though it was April, almost May. And in that moment, I had enough. I told him no, because I know why he wasn't allowing me to see her. It was because our relationship reminded him of the great big empty hole inside himself, continuing to fill with dread. And I said that to him too. I called him out on it. I was done with it all. He cursed and swore, and he even said some nasty things about Bethany. She's a whore. Oh, what a tramp. That hurt me more than the remarks he made about me. But I fought back. And just like my mom, when you're winning the fight, he decides to play ball. He grabbed the baseball bat and swung at me. He hit me the first time, but being 17 and more fit at the time, I managed to block the next couple of blows and eventually shoved him into a wall. He was so furious. He got up and swung one last time, breaking the baseball bat on my chest, knocking to me on the floor. It hurt so much. Sometimes I still feel it. The blow to my chest. How it hurt so badly. After wiping away some tears, I screamed, "You're not my father!" I ran out the door, hopped over our fence, and never came back. After that happened, I was running. I didn't know where to, but I was running. I didn't stop until I had reached our local gas station. I took a sec to relax and try to calm myself. Before I left, though, I had a horrifying realization. If I'm going through with this, I'm going to need food. It was hard, but I convinced myself to steal. The cashier seemed preoccupied with a magazine, so I took that opportunity to grab what I could. Sandwiches, chips, water, Coke, etc. I hid it in my jacket, and I managed to get it away, unnoticed. That night, not only running away from my home, leaving everything behind, but also committing a crime. It was a lot. It changed me. I wasn't the same after that night. I continued to run, and I got pretty far. I just made it outside of town. I didn't get much sleep that night, especially regarding that, well, I was sleeping in a dumpster. I remember seeing 1 or 2 police cars. I think they may have been searching for me, so the dumpster was a good place to hide, despite, well, everything else that was wrong with it. The next morning, I started running some more. I was officially out of town, and had found myself waiting at a crossroad with my thumb stuck up. I had no idea if anyone would accept any hitchhikers, but I needed to get away from my dad as far as possible. No matter what. Eventually, I managed to get someone to take me. They seemed kind enough. They even shared some of their food, which was nice. They did seem concerned, however. They didn't know my name, where I came from, and what had caused it all. I didn't give them much, knowing that they could rat me out to the police or something. They drove me a good while, though, all the way to Iowa. I always appreciated that. After that, it was more of the same. More stealing, more hitchhiking, more random strangers that would either help me or try to hurt me. It was definitely an eye-opening experience, traveling the country and all, not to mention the many sleepless nights I had. I don't think I could ever forget about that night. I eventually managed to hitchhike all the way to Detroit. Quite the journey, if I do say so myself. And while it was a hard journey, I was at least not getting hurt for every time I breathed. My first night in Detroit changed everything. You see, I had gone into another gas station to steal some more food. I've developed some strategies at this point. Only this time I was actually caught. The cashier had spotted me. I quickly ran out in a flash. I was so scared. I saw the cashier calling the police too. I ran around the back. All of a sudden I felt someone grab me, knocking the food out of my arms. He was tall, lanky, and gave me the creeps. He pinned me against a wall, which I had no choice but to deck him in the face. Before I ran off, however, some other guys that seemed to work with Mr. Tall and Lanky had grabbed me and told me to shut my trap as they dragged me to their truck and drove off. This is it. This was how I was gonna die. We eventually reached our destination, a seemingly abandoned warehouse. I was dragged inside, confused, scared, and angry. They threw me inside, in which I was introduced to several other goons, criminals even. Tall and Lanky showed up and had approached me. I held on my fists, as if it'd do anything, but he reassured me that I was safe. He apologized for the transportation and went on about what happened.
You see, kid, I noticed you stealing from the local gas station all by yourself. I thought to myself, now ain't that a shame? He's all on his own. You see, I know these things, so that's why I gave you a shook. I wanted to help you out there, but hell, you gave me one heck of a bruise to remember you by. Such anger and determination I saw in you, kid. I had two of my boys here with me, so apologies from them as well.
He went on a bit about his gang.
We're called the Remnants, kid. Call me Dean. Now, how'd you like to be a part of our gang?
I thought for a moment, but what other choice did I have? I said yes, and on that night, I became a Remnant. I had spent 3 years with the Remnants. In many ways, it was my home. These people treated me a lot better than I was treated by my dad. Speaking of, it was so nice to not have my hair buzzed every 2 weeks. My dad always hated long hair, especially on boys, so I grew it out and made it as crazy as possible. Combined with some old hair gel and grease, I had found a way to completely defy my dad through my hair. I didn't mind being with the Remnants. The only complaint, how we occasionally get into crimes. I hated it, but I started to develop bad habits. As I've mentioned in our first session here, I've committed over 27 different crimes. It was all because of this gang. I hated it so much, and now that became a part of me. Many nights, whether I was thinking about my dad, how much I missed Bethany, God, I missed her, or being scared of what happens next in my life. Everything was so overwhelming. I know many nights I've thought of dark things, how messed up I am, how I'd be better off dead somewhere. But worst of all, how I'm just like my father when it comes to my anger. And ironically, that made me even more angry. Angry at my dad, angry at the world, but mostly angry at myself. But I kept pressing on anyhow. I've grown real close to the gang at this point, especially after they saw me in action. You see, we get into these fights with other Detroit gangs. They had me join in. I refused to use a gun, as I didn't want to sink any lower than I already am at this point. So instead I relied on my fists. I remember getting hit a couple of times, but due to my intense anger, I went crazy on this one guy. I knocked him so hard and so fast. It was both exciting and dreadful. That's when the gang really started appreciating me as a remnant. Even though I had to deal with some dirty work, it was nice to have people you could rely on. After 3 years with the remnants, we were apparently arranging a gang fight around evening. Dean showed up at the warehouse saying,
Alright, listen up, losers. We got a fight with the slashers at 5:30. We ain't using guns this time to avoid the cops. And hey, I'm expecting a lot out of you, Georgie.
I nodded and prepared for a fight. 5:30 comes around and we meet at the planned place. The other gang had just arrived. We all met up, nodded a couple of times, and went at it. I went in blind. I didn't know who to go after, so I chose some random guy. I hit him a couple of times, shoving him over in the process. I was doing pretty good for myself. But then, out of nowhere, he reaches behind some trash can and pulls out an old, faded, wooden baseball bat. As soon as he pulled it out, my heart started racing. I was instantly reminded of my father. I was sweating. My vision was going blurry. I was breathing hard and I could barely stand. I was terrified. I was frozen. He came at me and swung that bat so hard, hitting me in the chest, where my dad had broken his bat over me. I was on the ground, shaking. But then, I snapped. I got up and charged him, screaming at the top of my lungs. I tore that bat out of his hand and proceeded to beat the snot out of him with his own bat. I won't go into detail, but let me just say it was brutal. It was the angriest I had ever been, all the while still feeling that pain on my chest. It hurt so much more than it should have. After wailing on this man furiously for nearly a minute, I stopped myself. I had realized what I had become. My father. Dropping the bat, I fell down face first onto the pavement and cried. I had become the thing that I absolutely hated. While I was crying on the pavement, losing focus of everything around me, the cops showed up. Everyone had scattered in time. I think I heard Dean call out for me, but it was too late by now. The cops came up behind me, slapped cuffs on my wrists, told me my rights and such, and drove me off to the county jail. I was not a fan of the prison life. It was really bad. I don't think I need to tell you why. Just everything leading up to this was bad. What I'd become and what I did, I never got over that. I mean, how could I? But back to prison. Most of the inmates were cruel. I tried keeping to myself around them, but it never worked. My anger would always come out in one way or another. It'd get pretty bad at times. There were times where I'd actually fought other inmates. It was always so stupid. They may have said something about my hair being weird or whatever. I hated it. If I had a comfort zone, it was far from gone. My anger and frustration was so bad that I had to be transferred to another prison. This happened 9 different times. I think it was due to some behavior problems or whatever. It was hard transitioning from prison to prison. Everything was always changing because you punched an inmate in the face for looking at you funny. The prison life lasted me a good 2 to 3 years. Not a good time for me. Eventually, when I got to the 9th prison, I guess it was decided by some court or something that a better treatment for me would be therapy. I agreed to this because anything is better than prison. Of course, I was given a parole officer, which was conflicting, but again, I was out of prison and that was good enough for me. I was taking to many group therapy programs, but almost none of them worked. I felt as if they would say something to make me less angry. It felt like I was more of something to be analyzed than to be heard. I know that wasn't the case, but I hated always talking about my issues with these random people. They all failed one by one. My parole officer did not lose hope, though. After a year of failed therapy programs, a newer program had been announced, the PALS program. It sounded super cheesy to me, but what did I have to lose? Besides, I knew my parole officer was getting tired of me not showing any signs of progress. So, it was decided. I signed up, I heard back 2 weeks later and officially joined PALS. So, that's about it.
George, is that all true?
Yep. Oh my God.
George, I am so sorry. Wow. That's a lot.
George, that's awful.
Well, thank you for sharing that information with us, George. I can't imagine that was easy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh, George, I'm so sorry for last time. If I would have known all of that, I wouldn't have...
It's alright. I get it.
So, taking this all into consideration, how do you feel?
Well, just thinking about it all, it frustrates me. I feel like, I don't know, just so upset with myself. Just knowing what I've become and where I've been, it's been hard. I'm angry. Angry at the world, angry at my dad, but mostly just angry at myself.
I see. Well, before I give you my thoughts, if you're okay with it, I think it might be healthy for you to let it all out.
Huh?
George, you've told us all your story, despite how dark and sorrowful it is. That takes a lot of strength to do, and I admire you for that. But I can tell that you may be suffering with this anger that you hold within yourself. And it's unhealthy to suppress it. Not saying that you are, but as long as you're okay with it, I think it would be healthy if you were to let your anger out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's kind of like screaming into a pillow, you know?
Okay. Alright. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to. I'm tired of it. I'm filled with so much hate. All of the time. It's so much that, well, it's not enough to the point where it doesn't fill the emptiness I feel inside. I'm sick of it all. Why do I always have to be angry all the time? Why am I like this? I hate what I've become. I'm nothing more than just a monster. A rage-filled monster. It's always yelling about something, always screaming, always angry.
attention. I was a criminal. The things that I've done, the thoughts that go through my head, the habits I've created. I hate it. Ugh, I hate it. I know I joke around like how I'm a criminal and all, but it's only to hide the fact that it hurts. God, it hurts so much. Why? I always end up asking myself that question. Why? Why does it have to be this way? Why couldn't things just be normal for me? Why did I have to deal with everything that I had to? It's not right. I just... I hate it so much. Why couldn't I have had a normal life? Why couldn't I have had a dad that actually loved me? Why do I have to deal with all this crap all the time? God, I hate myself!
George, let me tell you something. You are much more than you know. Yes, you may despise what you have been through in the past, and you may despise some of the things that you have done, and you may despise the circumstances that you had to go through. But know this, George. Almost everything that you have been through, you had little to no control over. You had no say in what your father did and the awful acts that he performed upon you, and I don't blame you for how you felt or how you responded. And even though that your father is not the best of people, he does not determine who you are as a person. You do. Heck, to see, you've come from such a bumpy road, George, and to see where it has taken you now, I don't blame you for any anger issues that you may have. And honestly, I believe that most people in your shoes would feel the same, if not worse. And finally, know that despite any family or criminal background whatsoever, that who you are as a person is not determined by where you've been and where you've come from, but rather where you are now. And George, you are an extraordinary person. The light that you bring to these sessions, your passion, your enthusiasm that you show, it truly is incredible. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that, well, it certainly wouldn't be the same without you, George. Really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. George, you've been through so much that I can't even comprehend it all. I just want you to know that I'm here to support you and to make sure that, well, you're doing okay.
Yeah. You're a great guy, George. You guys really are losers. You know, it's hard to come by people that could actually give a crap about you. I don't deserve you guys.
Oh, you sure as heck do, George.
Knowing what you've been through, you deserve a lot more.
I agree. You truly are amazing, George.
Man, you guys are just... I don't know what to say. Thanks. I guess I'm not used to someone
caring about me, you know?
Yeah, we'll be here for you, George. Every step of the way.
And man, I know you guys still support me and all, but I don't know, I still feel angry with myself.
And hey, George, that's okay. I wouldn't expect a brief talk like this to instantly bring you to emotional stability. What you've been through will require time and effort to heal from, but hey, that's why we're here.
Yeah, don't sweat it, George.
Yeah, we'll be here with you, George. Every step of the way.
Thanks, guys. You know, you guys really are. No, don't, pals.
Oh, goodness gracious. So, George, do you still intend on leaving PALS?
I don't know. I definitely need some time to think. You know, it's not so easy when you dump everything all out at once, you know?
Of course, George. I understand.
Oh, well, I do hope that you consider, not leaving. Whatever you decide, man, just know that you're not alone in this.
Thanks, guys.
Well, with that being said, I believe that...
Screw it, I'll stay.
Really?
Yeah, you losers need me anyways. Besides, if I want to improve myself, I'm gonna need all the support I can get.
Nice.
Yeah, cool, whatever.
And support you we shall. I'm proud of you, George.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. And I'm really sorry about what happened last time. I really lost it.
Hey, man, it's all good. We can all get like that sometimes. Yeah, and we're sorry if we upset you last time.
And hey, if you ever need to vent or express your emotions, we're here for you.
I'm probably sounding like a broken record at this point, but thanks, guys. Really.
Of course, George. I'm glad that...
Oh, George! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really happy that you're back.
Oh, boy. Hey, it's all good, man.
So, George, anything else that you would like to say before we conclude today's session?
Well, not much to say after you tell your life story. Well, I know I still feel angry with myself, but I also know that that's okay. It's definitely gonna take some time for me to get better, but while that does upset me, you know, one step at a time, I guess.
Absolutely, George.
And we'll be with you every step of the way.
Yeah, we've got your back, you discount Wolverine. I appreciate it, you emo goth kid.
Well, George, we're glad to have you back. I look forward to helping you in the future. And I'm glad we could all come together at a time like this. I appreciate you all. Thank you. And thank you all for watching. And remember, anger can come from many different places. Sometimes anger can be rather minor, such as stubbing your toe or dying in a video game. But while those may be classified as simple frustrations, anger can also come from rather dark places. Places that nobody wants to go to. No matter what causes that sense of anger, what we are angry at is also important. Whether it be you're angry at the world, or somebody you know, or even angry at yourself. Anger can be difficult to deal with. But no matter who you are, or what you've been through,
anger is a feeling we can all deal with from time to time. And yes, it can suck and hurt and feel uncontrollable. You just gotta know that there's people out there for you. As cheesy as it sounds, I know. You're not alone. And, well, how I look at it, you're on your own personal road. And, well, you just, despite any bumps and detours that may come, you just gotta keep going, no matter what.
I couldn't say it better myself.
Thanks, Pete.
Of course, George. Always. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care.
So this is the end of season 1.
Yeah, it seems so.
Man, it's been a wild ride.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Lots of emotions.
So what happens for season 2?
Oof, who knows? Maybe we could get a Netflix adaptation. Ooh, what about PALS Season 2, PALS in
Ooh, maybe one of us will be pregnant.
That's not how that works. Ooh, what if it becomes a musical?
Ooh, I can see it now.
Please don't.
No matter if you're a guy, no matter if you're a gal,
Stop.
you're always gonna be our pal.
Ooh, that was lit. James, never say lit ever again. Ooh, what if we get wardrobe changes for season 2?
Whoa, that'd be cool.
I mean, as long as I'm still wearing black, I'm good.
Maybe we could get all dark and gritty and start killing off each other one by one.
We kill off James first. Wait, what?
Ho ho ho! This show just got interesting.
Actually, wait. Now that I think about it, when does PAL Season 2 release?
Who knows? It could be years from now.
Yeah, if it's anything like the shows I watch, it's gonna be a while. Oh no, all of the delays.
The trailers that will lie to you?
Oh, you mean, in a world full of darkness, 4 pals must save us all, or something like that.
Right. So misleading.
But, yeah, who knows? Yeah, see you all later in I don't know, 7 years?
Yeah. Who knows?
Thank you all for watching PALS, and well, stay tuned till PALS Season 2. Until next time, take care.